Title: The Alien Queen's Lost Children. The twin suns of Altheris sank beneath the shimmering horizon, brushing the alien sky with molten gold and lavender. The human outpost at the edge of the valley stood silent, surrounded by towering crystal trees that chimed softly in the wind. Commander Elias Ward, the last surviving human on the colony after the evacuation, watched the light fade across the metallic plains. He had come to study the planet's energy fields, but lately, his mission had turned into something far simpler: survival. He hadn't spoken to another soul in months until she arrived. The alien queen of Altheris, known among her kind as Queen Sira, had appeared one evening, wounded and clutching two small infants. Their skin shimmered faintly with the same bioluminescence that glowed across her own. Her telepathic plea for shelter had carried both fear and exhaustion. Without hesitation, Elias offered her his cabin. For a time, the forest outside thrummed with an unfamiliar peace. The queen cared for her children in silence, while Elias repaired what was left of human systems. They exchanged no words, only silent nods, two wanderers from two dying worlds, bound by circumstance. Until the night the twins disappeared. Scene 1. The disappearance. It was the third dawn after a brutal plasma storm. Elias woke to the queen's cry, sharp, inhuman, echoing inside his mind. He stumbled from his cot and raced into the main chamber. The queen stood there, her wings flared wide, her luminous eyes wild with terror. "They are gone." Her voice trembled inside his thoughts. "My children gone." Elias's stomach clenched. The small cots where the twins had slept were empty, blankets tossed aside, the outer hatch yawning open. Strange prints marked the sand outside, tiny, glowing, and already fading. Without pause, Elias grabbed his oxygen pack, plasma torch, and sensor beacon. "We'll find them," he said firmly, though he doubted she could understand his language. Still, her gaze softened, and she followed him into the glowing forest. For hours, they searched through mirrored groves beneath a sky flashing with electric storms, each bolt of lightning cutting through the crystal canopy. Now and then, Sira knelt, her trembling hands brushing the ground, sensing the faint pulse of her children's energy. But by sundown, the traces vanished. The twins were gone. That night, she sat silently beside the fractured lake, her reflection broken in the rippling water. Elias wanted to speak, but what comfort could a human offer to a queen who had lost her children on a dying world? Days passed. The queen grew weaker, refusing food, rest, or words. Her once blazing glow dimmed to a pale flicker. Elias pressed on, searching even when the storms forced him back. He began recording every scan, every anomaly, mapping each faint signature that might lead to the children. The deeper he searched, the more he realized Altheris was alive, its energy web binding every creature, every breath. Then one evening, while calibrating the resonance scanner near the ridge, Elias saw something unbelievable: two faint energy pulses beneath the northern cliffs. He sprinted to the cabin. "Sira," he shouted. "I found something." She turned to him, slow and frail, but her eyes flared to life again. Together, they followed the readings into the canyon's core, a labyrinth of silver vines and glowing spores. There, nestled in a bed of luminous moss, they found two small cocoons pulsing softly like hearts. Inside, the twins slept peacefully, wrapped in the planet's own living energy. Sira gasped, tears like molten starlight gliding down her cheeks. "The world protected them," she whispered into his thoughts. "They're part of it now." But as she reached toward them, the ground began to quake. Scene 3. The Storm and the Sacrifice. A violent surge of energy ripped through the canyon. The glowing vines coiled tighter, reacting to the queen's touch, as if shielding the twins, even from her. Elias lunged forward, slashing at the tendrils with his plasma torch. "Hold on," he shouted over the deafening roar. Sira cried out. Her power ignited, wings spreading in a blaze of desperate light. The planet itself seemed to fight her, unwilling to surrender the energy it had claimed. Elias reached the cocoons just as they began to split apart. Two small faces looked up at him, soft, glowing, innocent. He gathered them close, shielding them from the raining shards of crystal above. "Go," he shouted to the queen. "Take them." But when he looked back, she was falling, her radiance dimming completely. With her final strength, she pressed her trembling hands against his chest, sending a surge of warmth into his heart. Her voice echoed inside his mind. "Protect them as I protected you." Then her body dissolved into 1,000 shining fragments that drifted away into the storm. Scene 4. The Awakening. Elias awoke days later. The outpost's roof had caved in, half buried beneath a sea of glittering dust. His chest throbbed with warmth, alive, humming. He looked down and saw them. The twin children, small, radiant, curled against him in sleep. Their gentle breaths moved in time with his heartbeat. Without thinking, he wrapped his arms around them. The queen's energy flowed through his veins, binding him to them. He realized then she hadn't only saved him, she had made him their guardian. One twin stirred, eyes opening, brilliant gold, just like her mother's. The other smiled faintly and reached up to touch his cheek. For the first time in months, Elias laughed, a quiet, broken sound that echoed through the ruins. Outside, the twin suns rose once again, their light sweeping softly over the valley. Weeks later, the distress signal finally reached orbit. A rescue shuttle descended through the mist and found the last surviving human sitting on a hillside, two glowing children resting in his lap. When they asked who the children were, he simply said, "They're my family now." As the shuttle lifted from Altris, the valley shimmered once more, alive, calm, as though the queen still watched over them on the wind. On Elias's chest, the twin lights glowed gently, dreaming beneath the same twin suns that had once watched their mother reign. Elias woke to silence. The storm had passed, leaving the valley cloaked in silver dust. His body ached, but warmth pressed against his chest, soft, rhythmic, alive. Looking down, he saw the twins nestled against him, their tiny hands clutching the folds of his uniform. Their skin shimmered faintly with bioluminescent hues, breath steady and serene. The glow of their bodies pulsed in perfect rhythm with his heart. Tears welled in his eyes. The queen's final words echoed again. "Protect them as I protected you." She had given him more than life. She had tied their fates to his soul. For hours, he didn't move, afraid they might fade away. When they finally stirred, one blinked up at him with golden eyes, the queen's eyes. The other smiled softly and touched his face. The warmth of that small hand shattered something deep within him. "You're safe now," he whispered, voice shaking. "I promise, I'll keep you safe." Outside, the twin suns of Altris rose once more, casting a gentle light through the broken dome of the outpost.